First thing we're gonna do is actually mount a 2x3 print. This is the standard operation of this table. Doesn't matter if I'm mounting large boards, small boards, if I'm mounting laminate directly to print vinyl. This is the standard technique. So the first thing we're gonna do is always, make sure we've got a good clean substrate. Now I've pre-cut a 2x3 board here. You don't have to pre-cut, okay? This can actually be run over the edge with bleed. It can be done smaller like what we're doing right here. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna line our graphic up. We're gonna drop the roller down, okay? Once that graphic is in place, it's not gonna move, which is gonna allow us to hold it edge to edge. If we need to hold a straight line for 9, 10 feet, we can do that. Once I drop that roller down, my substrate won't move and my graphic won't move. So I've got the roller dropped down. I'm gonna come back to about 2 o'clock on the roller. I'm actually gonna start peeling the backer back. I'll use my right hand and touching that adhesive as little as possible. Use my right hand to hold the vinyl and my left hand will fold the flap of the paper backer underneath. We're just gonna roll it right over. Come right back on. I'm gonna make sure I don't get into the crease where I started. Take my vinyl over. I'm gonna grab my flap, pull that paper backer, give myself plenty of space. If we allow the paper backer to get into the roller, that's when we can cause wrinkles. So we're gonna keep that paper backer as far back as we can. And we've just mounted a 2x3 sign. When doing lamination, we actually sheet the laminate and apply it the exact same way we apply standard vinyl. What this does is it allows you to teach your guys in the sign shop one technique. Now the cool thing about this is I'm gonna sheet this laminate here and I don't have any waste. When I web a laminator, I generally use 2 to 5 feet. Right here, it's 38-inch laminate and it's a 36-inch print. I'm gonna have 2 inches of waste. All right, now we're gonna actually show you the lamination technique. It is exactly the same as when we mounted our substrate. We'll get that lam exactly where we want it. Make sure our substrate's where we want it. Again, you'll rock your laminate back to about 2 o'clock. Touch the adhesive as little as possible, just to make sure you don't get any fingerprints in there. You're gonna roll your paper backer underneath to the roller. Just push it, just like that. And we'll pull the laminate over. Again, once we take our flap back, the key is to not allow the paper to get into the roll. So we want to make sure we hold it just like that right there. Now you have a very smooth lamination. Now we're going to actually apply laminate to print vinyl. So again, I've already pre-cut my print. You don't have to do that. It can be in your 54, 60-inch roll. But we pre-cut this print, so we actually have a sheet of laminate that is pre-cut as well. Again, it's the exact same technique as before. Two or 3 o'clock on the roller. Give yourself a little space. I'm going to touch it as little as you can. Roll your backer underneath. Make sure that you don't roll your roller right over that line that you just created. If you do, that'll give you your standard laminator mark. All right, now when you're doing this, again, make sure the paper doesn't get into the roller. And 2, you're gonna see your graphic come off the table just a little bit. That's okay. going to show you how to apply application tape to pre-cut, pre-weeded vinyl letters, and then we're actually going to apply those letters to a substrate. So the first thing we're going to do is put our application tape on the roller. Make sure that the adhesive is pointing towards the ceiling, okay? So what we'll do is we'll actually roll that adhesive tape underneath and make sure it's pretty straight. And then we'll get our pre-cut letters ready to go. So we're going to drop that roller right down. Put our letters in. Okay. We don't have to go very far. This is a small graphic. I'm going to cut the tape. This is a high risk area to cut your roller. Make sure you stay closer to the roll of tape than you do the actual roll on the CWT machine. We'll just trim it right out on the cut mat here. And now we're ready to apply to substrates. Now, generally the application roll holder isn't on here when you're doing standard mounting, but because we did just mount these signs, we're gonna go ahead and leave it on, and we'll show you how to work around that thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line this graphic up exactly where I need it, okay? I'm gonna drop my roller down. This is great because now your letters aren't gonna move and your substrate isn't gonna move. So we're gonna be able to keep it exactly where we need it. Now the CWT applies a nice even pressure. You can actually use a little bit lighter application tape. That way you don't have to worry about peeling off that E or that X and then going back and recutting it and spending an hour trying to get it lined back up. Now, once you learn how to apply graphics, it's always the same. So as you can see, we've done this exactly the same. Peel back my We're going to go through the 1/3 method of mounting large 4x8 prints. One person would also do 5x10s the exact same way. The other thing we're going to talk about is actually mounted to fluted polypropylene, or some people call it coroplast. This product can be a little tough to mount to, whether you're putting it through a laminator, you're trying to use a hand squeegee, or you're using a lamination table such as the CWT. You always want to mount the direction of the flutes. What that does is that allows the air to escape. When you go across the flutes, the air doesn't have anywhere to go, and because there are peaks and valleys, it's a lot easier to get bubbles in your print. Also, because of those peaks and valleys, sometimes you don't get complete lamination, and it can actually start to delaminate in those valleys. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our 4x8 right in the center. Want to make sure that graphic is completely lined up. Now when I'm mounting large prints, it's really hard to reach across and actually touch the vinyl. So you're always going to work from one end of the table. So what we'll do is we'll get the print exactly where we want it. We'll drop it down. Once that roller is dropped down, again, it's not going to move. So we don't have to worry about it. Now we can actually roll our vinyl back, start here from the end of the table, and peel the backer. Again, you want to make sure that you're not touching too much of the print. You don't want to get any fingerprints. If I was actually applying lamination, I would do it exactly the same way. One person can actually mount 40 to 45 4x8 boards in an hour. Now the great thing about that is you're going to have minimal waste. You're going to have minimal reprints. Okay? So what we'll do is we'll actually get that backer started. Okay? Just go right here, just like this. I can actually stop. Don't have to worry about a lamination line. Actually resituate, so I keep myself in a nice, comfortable area. You have a bubble-free 4x8 print on fluted polypropylene, which is one of the hardest things to do. We're going to show you another method of mounting large prints. So again, I'm going to go to fluted polypropylene. I'm going to actually mount with the flutes. Now this 4x8 sign, we're going to actually do what's called the 50-50 method. One person can still mount. This is just a touch slower than the last one we did, but where it really excels if you're doing large pre-cut letters, if you're doing channel letters, things of that nature, you can actually be a little bit more precise doing it this way. So what we're going to do is we're still going to use the end of the table to get the vinyl started, and it's going to look a little bit like what we did on the 1/3 method. But we're not actually going to start our print just yet. So we'll use the end of the table to get the large paper backer going. And now we're actually going to work from the side of the table. We're going to keep the vinyl tight to the roller. We're actually going to pull that vinyl back, keeping it straight, away from the paper. About 50% of your print, okay? Peel that vinyl all the way back. And I'm actually going to use my handy cutter here. We're going to leave ourselves, I don't know, maybe about a 6-inch leaf. I'm going to cut this backer right away. Get it out of the way. Some of you guys may recognize this method because it looks a lot like the old standard hand squeegee method. So again, we'll just roll that right under. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. We're actually gonna get our vinyl going. We're gonna push it just like this right here. We'll come back up. Get back to where we started. Now again, doing it this way is just going to allow us to stay on pre-cut letters. There we go. I'm going to get that started. We're going to peel it straight away. Again, don't be afraid to stop and adjust. You don't want to get outside your comfort zone. And there we go. 50-50 method. Again, a flawless print.